I think he humbled me first.
Yeah.
Broke. I was literally walking on water. So I went on an airplane for the first time last year, for God's sake.
Let's go.
I want to show how good God is. Phaello Tshabalala. Ineli osmatagalaza.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the thing we need to run away from.
Hi, welcome to By the Way, where we explore different ideas with interesting people who care. I am your host, Leslie Tswalo, and I'm joined today by Phaello Tshabalala, who is an award-winning content creator. I'm going to get into introducing you to the audience, but I think I just want to do a bit of an icebreaker.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how the both of us first met.
Right.
And I think we met because we met on the internet first.
Yes.
I think I met you first. And then you met me later.
That's what you say. That's what you say.
That's what I say. So I remember just going onto TikTok sometime last year, I think. And I just kept seeing this thing, Dumelang, my name is Phaello Tshabalala. Every third sticker, Dumelang, my name is Phaello Tshabalala. And I thought, what an interesting person. You were talking Sesotho, you were, funny, you were vibey. And I just really, really liked you. And then your Saturday lives.
Oh yeah, those are
were my little treats. On the Saturday mornings when I'm still in bed, I just go on live and I would find you there.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you comment?
I would. And then sometimes what I shout there when we don't understand.
Yes, that sounds like me.
I said, no.
That is so true. That is me. No, yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I remember the time it was when you were my boss at some stage, because you gave me my brand deal. And it's so weird with that because I was at such a low point in my life at the time. Broke yana. And you came to me and you're like, oh, I want to do this. Can you send me your rate card? And then I was even prepared to work with 1,000 rand that day. And then God was like, no, just send it as it is. And then okay. Do you understand? So it's crazy because you add such a big significance in my story, because you're one of those brands that are just like, they didn't want to undermine, because normally that's man sabat and then they're like, we have 500 rand for 5 reels. You know what I mean? So that's what I love so much about Masodi. Well, Liz is Masodi, that I'm just like, these people respect us. Yeah. Yeah. So it was a big one for me. So I remember very well. I think that's why I also clicked, because I feel like our relationship was just so genuine from the beginning. I feel like conversation, it's all heart. If you can just scroll. Yes. If you scroll on our conversations, kitty had to fade. And all colors, keep blue. You know what I mean? I love it.
And you know what? Now let's introduce this heavy hitter. That is Phaello Tshabalala.
Oh,
heavy hitter, only heavyweights. Ma'am, 4 years ago, you picked up, phone and your equipment.
Yeah.
To start taking content.
Yeah.
You started on YouTube. And today, you're an award-winning content creator. Recognized by DSTV.
It's actually quite funny. God is so crazy.
300,000 plus followership online.
I have never really counted everything collectively.
I did for you. And I'm sure I didn't count every corner that you're in.
Probably, yeah.
And that plus is bold. 300,000 plus followers across different platforms.
That's a lot of people.
That is incredible.
That is a lot of
and
people.
you, I consider you an educator. I don't know if you do.
I do.
You've got teacher vibes. When you say that on TikTok, you've got teacher vibes, and it's like you're such an incredible teacher. Tell me about that journey.
First of all, I'm glad you're mentioning teacher vibes, because that's what I want to be known as. I educate people. And I don't know what it is about me, but I've got a way of simplifying things for people who can't understand it. It just comes to me, So when I started my journey, fast forward, rewind. So when I started my YouTube channel, I was at a place where I just lost my grandmother. and my brother due to diabetes in the same year. So it was quite a traumatic experience because leading to her death and his death, it was just a lot because he was born with diabetes our whole lives. And my grandmother had it to a point where she got her feet amputated and all that kind of vibe. So it was a big thing, you know? So obviously it's trauma. So I'm just like, actually, to go out like this, I don't. So that's when I was like, I need to take care of my health. And of course, at the time, the reasoning for my weight loss journey was not necessarily to benefit me, but it was out of fear. You understand? So the motive around it was not good. I lost about 30 kgs within 6 months, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Oh, my goodness, it was so bad because I gained back the weight as well because the end in mind was bad. Fine, but that's what led me to start my YouTube channel. I remember my first video. If you want the clip, I can send it to you actually, where I put my phone. It was dark, and I literally had to take another phone and I think I was using a tablet, and then I took my phone as a flashlight. Keep working, welcome, whatever. That's literally my first video. And I remember I had like 100 views or something. I was really happy about it at the time. The rest says, Kieza Nyunyu, Kieza Mawaza. It was me at the time. And then obviously recording my weight loss and stuff like that. And all that changed after like 2 years, I think. And I got into the beauty thing. And the funny thing is I've always loved hair, beauty. My grandmother used to leave me to do hair, like because it was like a big house. And I used to sit at the back and listen to music exactly how I'm doing it now. So weird. Exactly how I'm doing it now. Music on loud. At the time, pick and drop. That's how I learned. I used to do myself, like face and everything. I used to love that. And now I find myself doing the same thing. Like, oh my word, it's exactly like now I'm just having that moment. I'm like, oh my God, it's exactly the same thing. And yeah, that's just what started this whole thing.
It is so interesting because the first thing that sort of like stuck with me was obviously Dumelang, my name is Phaello Tshabalala, one. And number two was,
yes,
on your tutorial.
Yes.
And that was so refreshing. You are funny. You felt so authentic. Like you're not even trying to be
somebody else. Yeah.
But why? What about other people?
You know what? I feel like it's easy to be yourself than to try and fit in. I read something this morning. I think I told you this earlier that we're not here to fit in. We're here to dominate your space, and dominating your space is being exactly who you're supposed to be at the time. You know. So make us a welcome table, maspala like tifofane. You want to welcome, right? I am from the hood of the hoodest places. Just that it just so happened that I went to English speaking preschool, whatever the case. I went to a Muslim primary school. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh wa maghfiratuh. I can speak. And a lot of people don't know. Like I went to a whole Arabic school, and then I went to Edu College. It's diverse. You know, that's why I can Sotho and English fluently and Arabic here and there. So Sotho, it was just that I failed Afrikaans from grade 1 to grade 12. Like, that's one thing I never understood. And I understood that it's because Mutuna Ubwa in a language that I did not understand. So how would I want a person to teach me something is when they speak the way I speak in my mother tongue. And so that's when Austin Twaki came to mind, right? I always say that's why I'm single, because that's exactly what it is. So I literally took the camera one day and I'm like, I'm going to speak to Auntie Konklung. Mama uswa how adulang fa khadi kai ShopRite, and I'm sorry for the ShopRite cashiers. You know what I mean? That are intrigued. And the way you speak to a person, that's how I wanted to capture it, because a lot of people understand that way. How now Mama Irene kapa mamang when you're saying, oh my gosh, guys, so you're going to take your liner and you're going to put it just under there and just make sure you blend it, okay? It must be seamless. It has to be seamless again. You understand? So I was targeting those people. So the other people have the people that will represent them. I just wanted to represent the people I know.
And you know what I think about language? I think people who pay attention to language have a different type of intelligence.
Oh.
And when I say different type, I don't even mean other.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a deeper type of intelligence that enables them to, I guess, search deeper to truly connect with people. Because there's one of my favorite authors, Ngungi wa Thiong'o, says this about language. He says, language is a carrier of, I think, two things. One is a carrier of communication, but it's also a carrier of culture.
So good.
Right. And there are some things that if you try to explain to someone with a certain relatability element with it, you need to go back to that language thing so we can, you just get it. And you can't.
I get you. I get you. Exactly.
Right.
I get
I
it.
think I really enjoy that about you. And what I also found to be particularly intelligent about the whole language thing was Nakamupedi. Now, when you spoke and you spoke about some terms that maybe then it was, I could still get you though.
Yeah.
And I've seen Zulu people follow you. I've seen different people.
They do.
Because there is that intelligence about language where it is actually not exclusive.
And I think it's also because my tutorials are simplistic. So I try, and when I film in such a way that you don't even need a voiceover. You can see exactly what's happening. You don't need somebody to explain it to you. You don't need to hear me. But if you want to, you can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's why it's also so relatable, because people are seeing what I'm doing and they understand it. They don't need to hear me anyway, so.
We've spoken about you considering yourself as a teacher. And you talked about mostly focusing on sort of like beginners tutorials.
Yep.
And of course, then your makeup is banging. So you do know how to do advanced makeup.
Natural.
But I guess my question is about teaching other people to become teachers themselves, teaching the teacher. Have you thought about that?
Yes, actually.
Oh.
I probably laughing. No, I have. It's just, that's what I do on a Saturday Live. Where I sit down, there's a whole 2 hours. I'll sit down, I'll install a work from scratch. There's questions that come in, and that's a whole other skill, guys. Like you're doing your hair, and again, but that you have to concentrate on doing it, because this needs you to concentrate. I'm installing the wig. After that, I do my makeup. It's a whole masterclass. It's teaching people, saying you need to perfect your face. You know exactly what looks on you, Liz. Die brows, how die joang. So if you perfect that, there's no need for you to be the eyeshadow, let's say yellow, let's say juan. Know how you look. You know what I mean? So that's me doing that. So with me just getting people to be more intentional about that, it's just me doing the masterclass that I told you about that I want to do sometime this year. Different kind of masterclass. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm trying. Hey guys, I need a team. Send the CV, because I don't know or whatever, but it's something I really want to do, because I see that people really want to learn and just, sit with me and do it. You know what I mean? So I think that's where the teacher aspect comes in, and me teaching people that they can take something that they can hold on to, I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. And I think one of the things I want us to then think about now is, you've talked about your journey of picking up, phone, the flashlight, whatever, on the first day. And now we're sitting with the Phaello Tshabalala, award-winning content creator, and you've got so many other things that, even prior to this, we sort of like talked about, right? But I want to talk about your sort of like going forward. You're talking about, Budi Master Classic, there's a podcast that is coming that I'm really excited to talk about. Tell me about the other, passions. Phaello Tshabalala, of course we know you're a beauty girl. Of course, we know you love hair, you love makeup. I know you love God, because I've seen you share so earnestly and so openly about that. But what are some of your other passions that maybe we don't even know about?
I don't know. But then I'm trying to think, because literally my life is the work that I do that I love so dearly. I quit my 9 to 5 for this, just recently. I think I'm in my 6th or 8th month or something. And other than that, it's church and serving the Lord, because I gave my life to God 2 years ago. Well, about a year and a half ago, So that is literally the crux of who I am. And when people ask me, outside of this, what do you do? I'm at church. I am. at church. I literally asked you, I'm like, why have I not seen you at church? Because you're not far from the church I go to. You know what I mean? So I haven't been back. No. I think I can sing. Mare, some people don't think I can. Can I voice the door? Don't I feel sound good? I promise you, I'll go sometimes. I can hold a note. I'm a good storyteller.
You are.
I think I am, right?
Yeah.
This is me giving you my talents now, not, King happy batung. I can make people laugh. I think that's my other thing.
Yeah.
I think that's why people like me so much. Yes, to whatever the case, but there's just things I say in certain way I say it that people find funny.
Yeah.
There's statuses I do sometimes where people are just like, you are hilarious. I know. But it's not something that I, that I just make a thing. Like I'm not a comedian. But I can come into a room and make people, yes.
You were talking about a heavy thing. Amidst all of these bright and wonderful and colorful things, may you quit your job?
Yes, I did.
I have been there. And I don't know what you were saying. Whenever I hear someone say, I quit my job to be serious, I'm like, what are you doing?
That easy. It's not. I always tell people, because funny enough, after I announced that I left my 9 to 5, I got emails and what's this called, inboxes about, I want to quit my job. How did you do it? I'm like, girl, did you pray about it? Number one, I'm Christian. And I make that very vocal for everybody to know that. I base my decisions, whatever I do, at the time. Been praying about it for a very long time. But you know what, Lord, I really want to do this. I want to do it for you, to glorify your name. I would love to do this full time, to just, concentrate fully onto it, And I was working at a law firm at the time. I was legal secretary. And as much as I was in one of the best law firms in South Africa, they are amazing. The people are amazing. Obviously, but for the most part of it, I was working in a really good place. I just gotten a raise that year, I remember, like a proper big raise, and God was just doing things. But December last year, God was like, okay, it's time.
And here's the thing about, I'm going to call it Christian speak, for the lack of a better phrase. Whenever I hear someone say, God has spoken, how do you know?
It's a personal thing.
Yeah.
For me, I know there's certain instances where no kikelelo jale ke hai. That is not your husband. You lying. So it's one of those things where you know when God speaks, he's hell. Do you want to stab? And you can't even describe it. Like it's like, for me, it's a very overwhelming feeling. It's like a pushing thing. Now. Like it's a now thing, like, okay, do it now. Like an urgency kind of vibe. That's how I feel God speak to me personally. So when I resigned, I remember I decided that week, okay, it's time to resign. I gave my resignation. It was December, I think 15th or whatever. He actually gave me a date and I didn't do it on the date. So I'm like, yes, for me, because I had this thing on my wall. If people follow me, they'll know that I had like a whole calendar where I wrote things down and stuff. Now it's off. But Nikila Ngola there, that resigning. There's a date where I wrote celibacy. There's a date I wrote stopping to drink alcohol. Like all those things. Wow, I wish I took a picture of it, but I just literally took it down. But my journey with God, it was a out of body experience. Let me say it like that. But for now, like answering your question, it was just that form of urgency. And what is weird is I was in a position where there's two of us. And so think about it like this. Gisele's at a law firm. There's 2 legal secretaries. One of it just left. I don't know. I don't even want to talk about her story to tell. It's actually quite funny. Otsamile and Hatsamaya Jalo, I'm the only one left there. I get another job offer. I tell my bosses that I got another job offer. They're like, no, you can't go. We counter offering. That's how I got the raise. After I get my raise, they put a thing on my contract that now you can't leave Phaello because Baba now they put a 2-month notice period, right? After they did that, about 2-3 months later, I gave my resignation in December. Obviously, I get some that Feb, get a match. I don't have any savings. I didn't do anything. Like, that's why this thing, I was literally walking on water.
Oh, you were just walking
out. And it's the first time I'm speaking about this, like, you know what I mean? Because I'm walking on water. I'm like, God, what is this? Quit my job. I promise you, take a match. April made enough money, like more than I earned. May made enough money, more than I earned. May, June made more than I earned. July, but it's weird. It's enough money for the month, not like save. Hopefully, the past 2 months. Yes, it's in a hell. I'm like, okay, God, what's happening? Like, what is happening? Well, you know what I mean? So now, this is now where I start like, am I doing the wrong thing or whatever the case? And then it came to me, Hula, you know what? You can't put life happening and God in the same level. Does that make sense? Okay. Life happens.
Yeah.
Life is not going to happen. But God on thing. So God is there to maneuver you around it. You have to be strong. Like in Zikirapela for strength and stuff. And this is probably part of it because I'm bad with finances anyway. You know what I mean? So when I got to these 2 months, I'm like, okay, this is lessons. I've got electricity. My car always has gas or whatnot. So there is the challenges, but I still know at the time. You know what I mean? And it's still going. I'm still getting miraculous things happening in my life, you know? I went on an airplane for the first time last year, for God's sake.
Let's go.
Stop, Donna. It's what for funny. What is that? Wow. After, like, it's my story. Like, it's because but it's just been so crazy, my life before Christ and after Christ, because the bulk of who Phaello Tshabalala that you guys know is after Christ. It's not after I gave my life to Christ. Because Phaello you know, I was that girl. I was like, not that there's anything wrong with it, but then it's just that those things consumed me at the time. And I did not understand fully who I was, you know? Yeah.
So are you so past the old Phaello, I guess, that you maybe don't even want to speak about her? No, I have heard that you still hold dear, and you're like, Maranali.
The thing is, I love speaking about it because I want to show how good God is. Because mom demand presenting, Liz, I used to stay in an apartment. I can't do anything about it. I used to stay in an apartment like that. You know, as well off as I seemed to be, I am from quite humble beginnings, especially in varsity and stuff like that, you know. So I want to speak about those just to tell persons that more lending, it's just the beginning. You know, you need to just calm down and acknowledge more lending, understand so that how fishagwa. You know exactly. For me, that was my story. Because I'm telling you, if Nikili reached Kitilala, hey, they got a red carpet. Because I think God knew they're gonna. So I think He humbled me first.
Yeah.
And then He's like, "Calm down."
Yeah.
You know, and I love that. So that's why I feel like I need to speak about the person I am, that I was. You know, but I still feel like I'm still the same person anyway. My personality or whatever is fine. It's just that now it's one of those intangible things that I've learned from God. Over, you know what? You don't treat people. You know, you don't snap at people. You have to be forgiving. You have to be loving. You know, those intangible things that I've learned to be Christ-like, but that I used to not do before. I didn't give people grace. How didn't never doing? You know what I mean? I was that person.
Yeah.
Still, I'm very like vocal and stuff, but I'm just more humble about it.
And you know what? You talk about your transformative journey as something that was very much driven by God, right? But I want us to also translate that into humanly tangible, technical decision-making approaches. You know what I mean? Then, you know, what are some of the very few key important decisions you've had to make for yourself that you feel like led to a huge sort of like transformation that led you to where you are today? God was at the core of it, but practically speaking, what did that for people who have eyes and ears and senses look and feel like?
okay, just hearing your question, what comes into my mind is taking the decision of understanding when I stop alcohol, why am I stopping? What's wrong with alcohol? Like, why would I get the inkling, eat well, do this? Alcohol does nothing for your body. Yes, it's literally poison to your body. It does nothing for your body. And people don't want to accept that. It literally kills you slowly. Get poison, And if I want to live the long life that I want to live, number one, I need to stop drinking the way I used to drink.
Yeah.
Number two, sexual sin. Guys, hey. Hey.
What we are doing is not good.
No, because you know what?
Okay.
Right? And everybody knows that and stuff. But doing it before marriage, there's a reason why, and for me, I know for a fact that after I do that with a person, I didn't feel good after. Really, it's nice at the time, because I think the reasoning I was doing it didn't make sense for me. So I took the decision that, you know what, I'll just cut this off.
What would you say was the reason you would do it?
I think for me, because I've been staying alone for so long, it was just that thing of
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody does it, man. Because now people are so sexually liberated and stuff. Speaking about controversial things like this, okay, sex before marriage, stop it.
Yeah.
But what the wash?
I think everybody knows they have agency over their body, so no one should actually take this as a reprimand for them. But I am very curious. Yes, that is also a very important start. It's part of your agency.
That's why this does not do anything for me, and the people I seemingly did this with did not contribute much to.
I see. So here's a spanner in the works. If you meet someone who is of the highest standard by your own, I guess, standards, and maybe you feel that you're willing to sort of explore sexually with them, you have plates that you would never do that, essentially, to yourself.
No. And that was a very first time I'm talking about this, excuse me. And that was a very, very hard conversation for me to have with self, because it was one of the darkest times in my life when it comes to sexual sin and stuff like that, because like I said, I did it for the wrong reason. So no span two until marriage. It was a long, hard conversation. But having God, here's me again talking about God, having God as my anchor, having Him as the person who's leading me, it's easier. Obviously, I'm human. When I look at a handsome guy, but that just shows that I'm human. My body, anything.
Yeah.
That's all it is. The problem is now when I meditate on it, that's when the problem is. So I had to have that conversation that, where the kind of person you want to be and where you want to go, your problem, you need to cut it out. I did just that. And I've understood where I am. Probably lost my train of thought. But what I want to say is that having God in this whole thing made it easier, because in God, I'm just there. All these things, like San Antonio, when I speak to a guy, I need to impress him, or I'm free or whatever the case, because I know my value now.
Yeah.
I did not have that. I did not know my value. I did not know or love myself enough to choose me, and I did that through prayer and knowing myself. This, last year was a year of self-recognition. And it was even so hard to understand that God loves me, because the understanding of love for now, it was just twisted, and I don't know where that comes from. I wouldn't even say it's my upbringing or whatever the case. It's just that I have not really had, that understanding. And when I understood God's love, I was like, that's it.
These are the last two questions that I have on this. One is, for women who typically then, this conversation I know comes from both the women and the men side of things. But I hear the celibacy chat a lot from women.
Yeah.
And then when you are keeping yourself well, you are, taking care of your body. And then here's a man who just rocks up after being all over the world.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there is something about that makes you nervous about, possibly meeting someone you absolutely, absolutely love, but maybe they have not been, sort of like preserving themselves from that angle, one? And two, are you not worried about falling in love with someone and then marrying them without having, had a sexual experience with them? And, life happens and things happen. And maybe, there's that sexual connectivity is just not... Does that... Are those thoughts that you actively try to keep out of your mind because they're just fearful and unhelpful, or have you thought about that?
Okay, so to answer your first question, I've never really thought about right?
Okay.
But one thing I've understood is marriage is not 90% sex and 10% other things. 90% other things. Probably like 5%, 10% sex. Marriage is a partnership to glorify God's kingdom, in my opinion. So if get to base my marriage on sex, of course there's leading whatever's for whatever. So you know what I mean? I want to enjoy my husband. I want to, you know what I mean? But I have a trust and belief in God that God knows my desires, and He hasn't failed me yet. I don't think Otom failed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because also I feel like
it's a faith conversation.
God understands the kind of person I am, and He knows what I need. And I have the utmost deep trust in Him for me to know that He knows what to bring and present to me. He knows, and this conversation, I know it's not going to relate to a lot of people.
Yeah.
They're going to be like,
it's okay.
You know what I mean? So, but for me, that's like, and I rest in that, because if God, and now it's gonna test my faith, and it's gonna be this whole other thing.
Yeah.
So, kitchen, you want to get it right when it comes to God and stuff. I'm just like, God, whatever you want.
Yeah.
No sex for now. That's fine. You know what I mean? And it's so weird. How so frowy? But like, that's one thing. Like, just relax. I'm like, I guess
so I see problem for now. Like, you can actually, you're essentially open to.
Of course. I'm at a point that last year, no. Now I'm at a point where I can speak to people or whatever.
No.
Now I'm just
man, guys. What this?
I'm just making it a point that I trust in God's process.
Yeah.
And whoever will come to me, with that, I really I'm up about, And if it's a high or whatever conversations are had, and it's the thing we're speaking about earlier, trusting people, you know what I mean? And just having that hope and stuff in them and just understand, you know what I mean? It's just taking the risk. Guys, you love once.
Yeah.
And I'm a lover. I love. You're a cat that you put I love, and I'm excited for that part and whatever challenges it brings. I mean, I'm open for all that. Not that Janet would talk a lot, but I mean, yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. It makes sense. So now, I want to talk about technical things.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have an award-winning content creator here and not talk about technical things.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about 3 technical things. One is, give us an interesting idea or an interesting technical skill or fact or, something to explore about wigs. 1.
About wigs. Okay.
Yeah. And 2, about makeup. And then 3, about your podcast, Phaello Talks.
I'm looking at you and I'm like, yo, Phaello Talks.
Girl, come on.
When it comes to the Phaello Talks, the technicality, right? It's just, it's not. I don't know if that's a technical thing. Because when people ask me, what must I do if I want to be a content creator or whatever? I always tell people, pick up your camera and record. That's exactly what I'm doing at Phaello Talks. I am recording. Spotify has this thing, Spotify for podcasters. So I literally took my phone and I record. The sound is horrible.
Yeah. So,
but I just did that.
So maybe share a bit of that with anyone so I know so many people have so many different ideas to share.
Yeah.
And people are scared for 3 reasons. One is, I'm scared because I don't know if anyone is interested to hear what I have to say. 2, I'm scared to fail publicly because podcasting is such a public thing. If you fail, everyone, hey, go check out my podcast. Everyone knows that I fail. So people are scared of that. And 3 is the podcasting industry is so full of different superstars, right? And people also then look at some of the superstars as benchmarks for what podcasting is, sometimes without even understanding where the people started. I mean, when I look at who Phaello is today, from a content creation perspective, I would not have thought that that's where you started. But many people will tell you this is how I started. So for someone who's got an iPhone in their hand and someone who has flashlight on the side and a table and a little desk, what would you say is the process for podcasting 101?
You know what's funny? I don't know fully of a podcasting game because I don't understand it. Get up like this, like because I'm more of a video person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I was thinking about a podcast, I thought I needed to have like cameras, lights, action, whatever. Funny enough, I had a semi-podcast or whatever on my channel where I was interviewing people, but you know what I mean? So when it comes to it, it's just literally, I just took my phone, okay, Rabu, let me do that because I do that well.
Yeah.
So when I just, it's actually quite bad because, Liz.
I love it though because it sounds like the idea of
that's exactly.
I love that so much.
I'm just like, I don't fully understand the gist of podcasting. It's complicated when it's not.
Yeah.
Speak.
Yeah.
And you learn. That's how I learned YouTube. Next time to add a thumbnail, I had to like search, do this. I learned on the job, and that's exactly what I'm doing now with the podcast. So download that's the technical thing. Download podcast for Spotify for podcasts. That's how I did it, and I only learned about this at a thing like 2-3 weeks ago. I think you're saying, but and I've got like 22 plays, and that's a lot for me. Let's go. And then when it comes to we think hair.
The secret to a laid
wig. Bleach your knots.
Okay. What do you mean?
So there's your wig, ne? Hi fihla wiki yao ilincha in fihla jalo. There's companies tlisang ile jalo. So when they do your lace, they wabana lacing yao muriru olon wenze mafito again. Into my feet, and my feet it wants to give the illusion as if it's on your scalp. So those knots are way too big to look like comes from your scalp. So to bleach your knots, it's to give the illusion that it comes from your scalp. So when you bleach them, I just did a video just yesterday about Garnier. It's got a bleach. So bleach you and you put it on your lace. Make sure that the knots kahari are covered. But make sure that it does not go on your hair to now bleach everything. You leave it there for a certain amount of time. Bleach, obviously, blonde. So you want it as blonde as possible to give the invisibleness. So you leave it, wash it. How about a purple shampoo? We should use purple shampoo. It will see the brassiness. So when you bleach, wash it with the purple shampoo.
Yeah.
And that literally takes away the brassiness and it looks like that. So that's why how Bonamo can say how it's because they bleached it and they put it down in such a way that you don't see the knots. But if you come close, there's knots because they are bleached. So we need them to be light enough for you not to see it with the naked eye. So I can do
yeah, because I'm like,
but when I'm nearby, you can see So that's a pro tip. Bleach your knots. I've got a lot of videos about
bleach your knots. I love that. And then on makeup.
Okay, so when you put on your foundation, do not put it under your eye. Right? So get your makeup how? Right? When people have cakey makeup, whatever. Just put makeup over. Don't put it here, especially. Because it's going to conceal. So now you're going to put foundation over concealer.
Over powder.
So obviously that's product.
In a video more TikTok, people are laughing at me. Where I look like
So that's the thing we need to run away from. The trick with that is put foundation area.
Yeah.
But because look at concealer. Concealer is just thicker foundation, essentially. And then it's going to look much more nicer. And then if you're going to put, now there's another trend where they put, it's your foundation, they put the concealer, and they already put the blush. So they don't put anything there. So you just blend everything all together. That gives you a more natural look. You know? So I still don't, I still do the build up and stuff. I like coverage. But more, just don't put it because it does the cakiness. I don't know if that makes sense.
That absolutely makes sense. Last question for you. So there's a lot of conversations around the sustainability of the creator industry.
Right.
People will talk about, is it even possible to be a full-time influencer and make money? Is the lifestyle that people are living in line with what we know they paid and so on? And I think that, from my perspective, it's said from two places. One is when people are challenging some of the perceptions that are put out there by creators, about how great it can be. And some of those perceptions are actually reality for them. And others are saying, do we need to be a bit more honest about some of the struggles in that space? But then on the other hand, I think the reason it's important is because there's people who are potentially looking to either go full-time into content creation or, explore some of, if someone is in varsity and they actually don't even want to tend to care about other things, they just want to go straight into it. How can we have some of these conversations in a helpful way that assures people that it is a sustainable and safe industry to participate in without shying away from the realities or the truth of the industry? What would you say about the sustainability of this industry?
See, the problem with social media is that people go on it to forget about the problem. They want to be sold dreams so that they feel good. Okay. So the minute you go FIFA or or negative kind of vibe, I know for me especially. So you can make a living out of I'm doing it right now, right? But it takes hard work. And also it takes knowing exactly why you're doing something. Famous. And then that's your end in mind. You need to have a plan. It's work. You need to register a business. You need to have your papers and stuff, in check, know how to speak to corporates and stuff. You need to know how to get into a room, and you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it is sustainable. It is sustainable. It's just that don't believe everything you see on social media. Don't get overpowered by this whole thing, Remember batu, and when people come on social media and cry and complain and stuff like that, they're like, you're doing too much. If you don't say much as well, you fake. So you can never win with this thing. You know what I mean? The best thing is just be yourself. Whatever, social media, I always tell people, they're always like, when people come to church and they're like, hey, church, I always say, whatever you come to look for, you'll find it. If you better go in there looking for God. Tana Perry said this.
Yeah.
You need to go in church looking for God. If you just like hospital, we're there looking to get saved from something.
Yeah.
So it's the same concept. Okay, so we're talking about social media. You want to be inspired, you want the real thing, follow the right people. To follow what Dibono works as victory, the algorithm won't suggest Dibono to you because it wants you to stay on there. You know what I mean? So stick to the right thing. Follow the right people. The right people that give you proper content. There's people that give you aesthetics and there's people that give you the right, bupilo. Someone need, you know what I mean? So that's the one advice, my unsolicited advice. But it is sustainable. You just need to have a clear plan. It is a business. I just registered my business as well. Get your stuff together. I'm still learning. That takes into so you need to take it seriously. Hasi thing. For me, I told you earlier, social media is what I do. It's not who I am. So I sometimes get somebody knows me from somewhere because I'm myself. I don't take it as it. I get mama. God's child first before all of this, and that's what makes it easier for that. Because
I think on that note, we can talk forever. Yeah. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me.
And congratulations on your podcast.
And congratulations on all your success. Thank you so much for joining us. Cheers.